Hey guys, how to start a coaching or consulting business. I'm going to go through some of the biggest mistakes I made in 2023. Now, across both my businesses last year, we made close to between about 545 to about 600K in cash, give or take a few dollars from contracts. But that did not come without its fair shares of mistakes and lessons. So I was kind of sitting down today because I think I got rid of a lot of the remnants of 2023, and I finally had a chance to kind of reflect on it and just kind of write down like what were the biggest things. So we'll kind of go through them now. So number one, this is not in any order, right? So keep in mind too, I know $600,000 from like if you've never made that much money in a single year before, that sounds like a lot of money, and it is to a certain degree. Like if you would have told me this back in 2015 or 2017 when I was first getting started, like I'd be like, whoa, there's no way that I could make that much money, or like, whoa, I'm making that much money, right? But I'm not perfect, right? By no means. Anyone that tells you they're perfect or that business is like perfect and stuff, they're probably trying to sell you something, okay? So let's keep going and let's attack this. Also, if you're trying to start like a coaching or consulting business, even like a marketing agency, but it's just not quite going the way that you want, and you want some guidance, you want some step-by-step instruction to be able to help you go and reach your goal, go ahead and click on the link either above or below the video. Book a call with myself to see if I can help you inside of our program for coaches and consultants. So, number one, not supervising staff, okay? This is one of the biggest things. So inside of my coaching business, I generally let a lot of my staff members kind of roam free. So it's like I was focused mostly on like the results they're getting, but not on the individual metrics and KPIs we're hitting. So it caused there to be a lot of mediocrity inside of the business, right? So we're making revenue almost in spite of ourselves, right? Because I was throwing bodies at the problem and like at the challenge of getting more and more clients, when really I could have actually subtracted some, gotten some better quality people inside with had better skill set, overseen those better skill sets a little bit better, and then be able to go. Like it's been very interesting kind of seeing that happen the last couple of weeks, right? Just like, oh wow, you get two people that are better, they take over like 4 or 5 times the same amount of people, right? But it's non-supervision. That's a really big thing, because the unfortunate part with having like a coaching business is that it's very easy to make cash. So you stop really focusing on like the little things. So like there was one person that over the course of the year just broke even, right? Actually, I lost money on that person. But if you weren't keeping track of it, it looks like you're making money on that person. Right, so after doing a kind of different type of analysis, like opportunity cost, and seeing like what percentage of the sales that came from this person were actually influenced by this person or this ad, or the system was just really masking that this person was not really doing well. Next thing, I brought on some family members to kind of help them, just help them out and give them some jobs, but I brought them on without really training them. And I brought them on for skilled jobs with which they did not have experience for. So what that basically means is, and this is not like a shot or something negative to the people who I brought on, but generally, I don't know, it's kind of a weird thing, right? Because you want to help people out and you start your business to help people out. So it's not necessarily that's a bad thing or that I wouldn't do it again. It's more that you need to make sure that whoever is on the team is going to be moving the business forward. Like it would have been much easier just to give the person a check, at the end of the year than like have the person on, right? Because it's opportunity costs. The more people that are on your boat or on your vehicle, especially an online coaching business, that are not really adding to the bottom line, the harder it actually is for you to keep moving forward with the business and start stalling, right? And you don't really understand like, why is the business not growing past a certain point? Like we're doing the exact same things but it's like you're not really doing the exact same things. You might be doing the things, but you're not doing it with the same level of skill set as what it was before. So I was actually making more progress and like a lot easier when it was just me working. I only had like one virtual assistant. Now we had 4 virtual assistants, 2 appointment setters. We even had like a closer involved, and we're making about the same amount of money, right? So it's like, rather than it being like my profit, so let's say that, we'll say 100% right for the time, and then you add more people. I was thinking that if I add, $30,000 worth of people, it will cause the revenue to like explode, right, from 100 to 300. But instead, the revenue stayed at 100. Not I'm talking about dollars. I'm just saying like out of percentage. the top 100% actually just got eaten up by 30. So it's like it was just a less efficient version of the same amount of revenue as the month and year before. And my challenge was that, I was told that, as you scale, you want to be able to take yourself out of the business and do less and less. But it's like I was actually doing more and more. I just didn't really understand that I was doing more because I didn't feel like I was doing more, right? So that's another reason why I even started like building this like these different like YouTube channels and stuff, because just like from like a dollar to dollar perspective, right? Every hour that I put in towards YouTube is generally brought back about in between $300 to about $1,000 per hour from the YouTube channel last year. And it's like, whoa. So now I'm trying to see how can I really expand my YouTube presence, whether it's to go and like, have 2 channels, have 3 channels, whatever the cost, whatever the thing might be, and maintain those 3 channels, right? If each one of those channels gives me $150,000 a year in net cash, with basically 0 expenses and very little time involvement, it's like, why would you not do that, right? So that's kind of why we built up these other channels. But yeah, and it's really just like bringing on people. It's really the training. It kind of goes back to that first thing, non-supervision, right? Because I was just like, okay, just figure it out. And one reason why is because a lot of times, like as we're online entrepreneurs and online business people, like we take for granted how hard it is to actually run an online business. It's not that it's hard, like, if someone can't do it or someone, there's a lot of moving pieces, which if you don't really understand how to simplify things at all times, it can get very, very overwhelming. And the average person does not have the same skill set that we have or the ability to, really take a lot of the data and a lot of different things that we do and really make it tangible, right? So that's the big kind of like tweak when it comes to an online business. It's very simple to run if you can like manage different things, and if you can just eliminate a bunch of stuff, it's very simple. But most people who have never even like taken a course or have never even like known what to do, they just kind of it just kind of falls apart, or they just can't handle it, right? And I didn't know that because I assumed I've been doing this stuff for so long that anybody could do it, right? Next thing, I was bringing in some virtual assistants for non-revenue generating activities. So I tried to kind of make my YouTube channel extremely passive last year. Not that it's not passive, I only do like 3 videos a week, but in the beginning of the year, I basically tried to take my old YouTube videos, and I tried to cut them into like 3-minute segments and just post them on my YouTube channel, right? And it was just like, kind of like how you do with like shorts, right? Or reels, where it's like 1 minute, but I was doing 3-minute clips, because that was before the reels kind of like blew up, and before there was a lot of like AI tools that can make reels for you. So I was like, okay, so this is easy. I can just have 1 million videos go out every single day. I don't have to do anything. And for a minute, it worked really well, right? But it actually stopped bringing in the right types of leads. The leads that came in were just random people who had like seen 1 or 2 of my videos, because it did get me more views, but they hadn't watched enough of my content to really want to buy from me, right? But I had virtual assistants that were doing that, and it just ended up just getting away from me, right? Because I wasn't really overseeing them. So like I had like 20-30 videos that were going out like per week that weren't really edited that well, that weren't really clipped properly across like YouTube, Facebook. My Instagram was okay because we use an automated tool, but like even my Twitter, right? So just like all these like, yeah, it just got away from me, right? And like, yeah, we were making good money, right? But it's still like we could have been making either better money or easier money or even cheaper money, right? But just not having that person. Like I was paying one of my VAs like anywhere between about $1,200 to $1,400 a month for non-revenue generating activities, like making graphics or doing like administrative stuff. When it's like, when you really think about it, it's like, well, we probably shouldn't even have been doing that administrative stuff. Like there's no reason. We could just have a person from Fiverr. We pay maybe like $300 a quarter to go make some graphics. We could have used Opus Pro only and just like done it really, really quickly, really simply, right? So I think what that kind of goes to is, instead of bringing on like a virtual assistant continuously, you just bring on like maybe a virtual assistant for like a one-time project and kind of like make sure the project goes well, so you can save a lot on like money and costs. That's another thing. I was making so much money that I just didn't really care about these little costs, like $1,200 here, $100 here, $100 a month tool here, buy a random thing here, and it all kind of adds up, right? You would think that as an accountant or as a bookkeeper, like having a bookkeeping business, right, that I would like kind of think about that. But it kind of got to a point to where it's just like, oh, $1,200 here. or let's try this $3,000 ad campaign here and just see if it works. I really got away from being very, very focused and very numbers driven. It's just more kind of feel and more based on like, let's try to see if this thing will work, right? And it's because I was trying to scale, right? I was trying to go and, hit the 100K a month. So I was thinking that in order to hit 100K per month, you got to go and move a lot faster. But it wasn't necessarily moving a lot faster. It was still about doing the right things with the right intensity, with the right focus, in the right amount, right? So I really my foundation crumbled as I tried to scale, right? And it's because I was trying to scale without really having a solid foundation and training and supervision of the staff. Next thing, I stopped hunting, right? So I mentioned I had the family members doing that, and I also had like a team member that was, I had multiple VAs as well as appointment setters that were messaging leads. But on my main profile, I never logged into, I was just having the family member do that, right? And I was figuring, okay, this person maybe books a call once a week or whatever. And right before I stopped hunting, I would basically help him go and get 1 to 2 calls, per day or per week. Right? So it's it wasn't feeling it, but as soon as I stepped away, it was oh, it doesn't really work. So I was blaming on the Facebook group when really it was my fault for just not having the right, skill set or person kind of doing it. I also had a virtual assistant that was managing my Facebook group, and I had her try and switch to a different type of appointment setting that she just didn't really have the skill set for. And it was really masked because the year that she had brought in 180 grand in cash, but it was 30% her fault. Actually, no, probably 20% her fault, 10% because of Facebook algorithm, and 60% my fault, right? Because she would bring in the lead, but it would be a very short conversation, and I would have to do a huge amount on our consultation call. So I would do a 2-call close, have to walk them through, make sure everything worked out really well, and I was carrying the majority of the responsibility of making that lead someone that could potentially be a client. So I switched it to making it more on her shoulders as the year kind of went on. So rather than doing a triage call, 15-minute call where someone just learns a little bit about me and then I have to basically tell them why they need to work with me and then do a sales call, I basically said, okay, we'll cut off that 15-minute call. You just book them straight to a sales call and I'll just handle the rest, right? So that way it could be more of 60% emphasis on her side and 30% emphasis or whatever percentage emphasis on my side, right? Because Facebook still had a piece. But then the Facebook the algorithm switched during the middle of the year, so it made it harder for her to message, and she just didn't have the skill set to be able to book accurate calls that kind of went. So she ended up really breaking even, right? But again, you live and you learn, right? I wouldn't have thought that it'd be that challenging, but again, there's a lot of stuff that you take for granted when you're running an online business successfully for as long as what I have. You just kind of forget what it's like when someone's starting out, right? You might be asking, well, Bryce, you have coaching programs for coaches and for accountants and bookkeepers. Why could you not train them? I didn't think I needed to. I know that sounds crazy. I know it sounds weird, but it's they started off doing really well. You wouldn't have thought that if in 2022, actually in 2021, person brings in 80 grand. Then in 2022, the person brings in 174,000. And then in 2023, the person brings in 30. It's something's wrong. It can't be the person. They've already brought in over $200,000 worth of revenue. What? So it's just oh, now you understand why as you kind of look back. It's oh, it makes total sense now. It's just I didn't think that I would have to train this person. It's almost like the person got comfortable and just, like I said, the skill sets just went online to what we needed to do. That's the next lesson. Just because someone's been with you for a long time does not mean that you have to keep rewarding them for subpar performances in the present. Right? I had a number of people on the team that were like that. It's oh, you got me sales before. Oh, you brought in $100,000. Or you've been with me for 7-8 years. Okay, this is awesome. I just kept giving them more chances without more training or more oversight. Right? So it's they just kind of trended down over time. Right? So now I reset basically the company, got some different people inside, and then only focus on revenue generating activities. If I have someone on, it's either to book a call or to close a call, right? And administrative stuff, I'm taking the brunt of the administrative stuff. Have a lot more automations in place and stuff, but yeah, it's just very, very streamlined, right? Very efficient. Even the tools we have, right? I had a bunch of just random softwares. just ran. I was spending like 28 grand a year on software expenses, right? It's a lot. I'm spending 30 grand a year on virtual assistants, and they were essentially breaking even / losing money, right? So it's like, oh, it's not that much, 30 grand on these virtual assistants, but it's the opportunity cost of how much you actually lose over the course of the year by having subpar people on the team, right? Next thing is I stopped hunting. Like I said, I trust, okay, so cool. These guys are good. I can start focusing on sales calls. I can start focusing on making more content, right? So I don't need to do that. Wrong. Again, I was bringing a lot more people in. So, for example, I would spend like maybe like an hour a day, like just responding to people that respond to like my posts in my Facebook group. And I'd book like 1 to 2 calls a day, right? Just people who are just interested in working with me. And it didn't feel like it was taking that much. And it wasn't that much time spent on it, right? So that's the problem. So as soon as I stopped doing that, again, that's a huge amount of the foundations that just crumble because I stopped doing it and no one could replace exactly how I was doing it, right? So it's just like, oh, crap. Then I stopped doing a weekly training inside of my Facebook group. I was like, oh, the Facebook group doesn't work anymore, so, why am I doing these things? And yeah, and that's the main thing. I actually have a group coaching call I have to get to in a couple of minutes for my program for accountants and bookkeepers. So I think what I'll do is I will do a part 2, but those are some of the basic mistakes, right? So like, you could the moral of the story is you can make a lot of money without being perfect. That should be both a great thing for you, like you don't have to be perfect and you can still make it work, and also encouraging because it's just like, no one is perfect. No matter how much money they're making on top line revenue, like no one's perfect, right? It's very easy for you to let things kind of get out of hand. So if you want some help growing your business from someone that's made a lot of mistakes, made a lot of money, but made a lot of mistakes as well, I'm continuing to make mistakes, but I'm getting a lot better. If you want someone like that who can look at your business and tell you, hey, let's avoid this, okay? I've been down this road. This is what this is going to lead to. Like, just avoid it. I can help you kind of, like, think through that and actually give you a more accurate viewpoint. And then make sure that you don't make any of the mistakes, right? If you don't make the mistakes, the time it takes to go and reach the goal is a lot shorter. We're just condensing time. You're paying money to condense time. If you want some help doing that, and if you want to be able to go and reach your goal in the shortest period of time possible, go ahead and click the link inside the description. Book a call with myself to see if I can help you inside of our program for coaches and consultants. Okay? If that's you, I'll see you on the call. If you're not quite ready to invest in a program, or maybe you've done a program and like maybe you've been hurt and you just need to build up some trust and see if I'm actually the person who can help you out, keep watching more videos, right? They're for free, so you might as well watch them. Might as well learn some stuff along the way, okay? And I'll see you on the other side. Have a good one.